Okay, welcome back to the Caring Conference. And Kathy is our next presenter, and she's going to remind us that we can be our own best friend. Kathy, take it away.
Thank you, Denise, and thank you, Taylor, for such a good segue into my presentation, because there's so many things that you were talking about that I hope we'll be picking up on here, assuming that the tech works. So yes, I'm Kathy Murri, and just to tell you a little bit about me, I was a part-time caregiver for my mother and for a friend who had motor neuron disease, also known as ALS. And you know, I've done a lot of things, I guess, in the caregiving world and in the grief world, including groups and things of that nature. You know, basically, over the past few years, I personally have transformed from, you know, having a full-time, well, I sort of still have a full-time job that's not in the caregiving world, and then and moving into a caregiving role with a friend, moving into the role of someone who carries grief with them daily, really, after his passing, and, you know, learning a lot about the caregiving in general, both from trainings with Denise and from other trainings in grief support. And I think what brought me specifically to this moment is that in the past couple of years, I got involved in grief movement training with a man named Paul Denniston, who's just written a wonderful book, which you should find if you can. And for anyone who looked at me to say, oh, you would be doing grief movement training, you know, that would be kind of a ridiculous notion, actually, because I didn't start doing yoga till actually 6 years ago. So, you know, the fact that I would actually sit in front of people and say, hey, let's do this movement is a big transformation for me. But I also recently got involved in learning about mindful self-compassion, which is something that Kristen Neff and Christopher, whose name I can't read, but you can, promote. And they have a lot of books and other documents on that. And I heard Kristen Neff on a podcast one night, and she was talking about how it's important, you know, to really be mindful about the way you talk to yourself, and, you know, to be careful about all the negative self-talk. I thrive on negative self-talk, to be honest. I hate to say that, but basically it's so embedded in me that it's really hard for me to move past it. So I listened to this and I thought, that's really great. That really sounds fabulous. But it felt like trying to take that on and do that was just adding one more thing to my list of shoulds. Like, okay, I should exercise for 30 minutes a day. I should eat 9 fruits and vegetables. I should meditate. I should talk to myself nicely. I should think about how I'm talking to myself. And while it's a great goal, it's not something I could move to right at that moment. But what I realized I could move to was creating in my mind a best friend who could talk to me in the way that in a kinder way than I talk to myself. So I'm going to offer this as just an option for those, if anybody out there like me has difficult with the direct kindness. I have this best friend who lives in my head now, who basically cheers me on. And I'm going to talk a little bit about how I did that and how you might be able to do that as well. So first, I just want to say that before we get to that I realize that I've just asked you actually to create an imaginary friend. And, you know, I know that for some of you, that may be a you know, kind of out there idea. So I'm going to introduce to you a movement that we use sometimes when something happens that's embarrassing or that's really like out there, and it's called embarrassed laughter. And so I invite you to think about creating an imaginary friend and think about how that makes you feel. Does it make you feel embarrassed? Does it make you feel uncomfortable? And act that out, and we're going to laugh about that. At first, we're going to make ourselves laugh, and then we're going to see what happens. So I'll demonstrate, and you can join along with me if you want. Like, an imaginary best friend. So I can't really tell how many of you joined me on that, but if you did, I'm just wondering, we could do it again if you want. If you did, I'm just wondering, first of all, if you noticed a couple of things. One, that basically it did release some stress, but two, that as you laughed, it became a more natural sort of feeling. It became more natural laughter. And so that's one of the things I just want to bring to the possibility of creating your own best friend, is that basically when you do it, whether it's someone else talking to you about, telling you the things you want to hear, or you telling you the things you want to hear, it's still releasing the same chemicals in your body, the way that hugging yourself does, the way that fake laughter leads into real laughter does. It still makes you feel good. So I hope you will join me on this mission and try it out. So first, I'd like you to think about what qualities make a best friend. And think in your own head about what you're looking for in a best friend. I came up with a few. These may or may not work for you. Basically, someone who's funny, encouraging, validating, motivating, playful, compassionate, soothing, forgiving, loyal, adventurous, supportive, loving, supportive, again, very supportive, apparently, generous, adventurous, accepting. And have in your head what your qualities are, or if you have a piece of paper, just write down what the qualities are you're looking for in a best friend. Okay, so when you have those qualities ready, I invite you to join me in just getting grounded in your seat. We're going to do a few movement exercises, basically to introduce you to your best friend, and to do a few activities with them to just try this out. So I invite you to get grounded in your seat with your feet on the ground, your sit bones comfortably in the chair. You could put one hand on your heart and one hand on your stomach if you want, anywhere that you're comfortable. And just take a few breaths in and out. Just feel yourself in the moment. And thinking about the qualities you want in your best friend, try to find the feeling in your heart of what it would feel like to have that best friend with you, supporting you. Do you feel supported? Do you feel happy? And what does it feel like to have somebody who's on your side, who's there 24/7, who's just available to you at any moment to reinforce you, to just be your companion? And let's take a couple more breaths and just feel that. Got it? Okay. So the next exercise we're going to move into is something called love taps. And this can be done individually or in pairs, but today I'm having it be an exercise between you and your best friend. So the way love taps works, I'll demonstrate first, is that you gently tap yourself on your chest near your heart, and using I statements, talk about how you're feeling. So for example, I might say, I am anxious. I am happy. Just whatever comes up. But what I'm going to ask you to do today is that when you say the I am statement, follow it with a you are statement, as if your best friend is reflecting it back to you. Now, I'm going to do my own statements. You're welcome to do your own statements. If you want to mute me so you don't hear mine, or just turn the sound down so you don't hear mine, that's fine. When you're finished doing it, and really we're just going to take a couple of minutes doing this, so that you can really like take time to work through feelings. When you're finished, put your hands on your heart so I can tell that you're finished so we can move on. So I'll start. I am anxious. You are anxious. I am happy. You are happy. I am embarrassed. You are embarrassed. Just think about them and say them out loud if you want, if you're muted. I am stressed. You are stressed. I am proud. You are proud. I am worried. You are worried. I am confident. You are confident. I am ambitious. You are ambitious. I am moving forward. You are moving forward. Just going to take a look and see how people are doing. Okay. Right. So I hope that that gave you an opportunity to reflect on what it's like when you have the person in your head speaking back to you. Again, you can find a real live person to do this with. And I will say that I don't know in terms of visioning friend, like if you have someone in mind or not. I actually have a person that I visualize who's actually the person talking to me. Maybe you have a friend, past or present, who is that person, but sometimes that really helps too. So one of the things that we know that your best friend wants for you is for you to throw away your regrets and your coulda, shoulda, wouldas. And we're going to do a brief exercise called Weeding the Garden, which is going to give you an opportunity to do that. So I invite you to imagine yourself in the middle of a beautiful garden, beautiful flowers, spring, they've just come up, it's great. There are a few weeds there in the garden, and those weeds are your coulda, shoulda, wouldas. And I invite you to take one hand at a time, reach forward for one of those weeds and pull it out and pull it over your shoulder. Throw it over your shoulder. Take another one. You can name those weeds if you want. They might be regrets like, I should have done that sooner. I wish I had followed through on that lead. I'm really sorry I didn't practice more. Whatever they are, just pull them up and throw them over your shoulder. And remember that your best friend's right there with you, like, encouraging you to throw those over your shoulder. So whatever weeds you have there, if you're a caregiver, it could be many things. It could be, I should have, called the doctor sooner. I should have taken the person to the hospital sooner. I wish I had listened more. I wish I had paid attention. I wish I had done any of those things. And when you're done with weeding, if you want, you can also do a little action that sweeps away anything that's left over. So just take your hand as if you have a broom in it and sweep away any of those regrets, bad feelings, whatever that are left there. Let's do a couple of sweeps. Once you're done sweeping, I want you to just gather the love in that's around you. Think of the people who support you. Think of the real best friends as well as the imaginary best friends. Think of the people in your community who help you. Think of your family. Think of, online communities, training courses, educational opportunities, anything that helps you, anything that brings things in and gives you more support. And when you've gathered in enough love, you can never gather in enough love. When you've gathered in enough love, give yourself a hug. And this hug can be from you to you, or from your best friend to you. If there's anything that's hurting, if your shoulders are tight or whatever, just give yourself a little massage like a best friend might. Sometimes you don't realize how sore those shoulders are until you start massaging them, and just feel the love. Now, your best friend, there are many exercises we could do, and I've just chosen a few today, but your best friend also wants to see you accomplishing your goals. And the next thing we'll do is purpose and action, which is basically just running in place in your seat toward whatever goal you've set for yourself. So maybe the goal is just running in place. Maybe it's running toward some career accomplishment, or getting through the day, or getting your caree to the doctor, or coming up with a new idea, or starting to write in a journal, or whatever. You're running toward that. And try to feel your best friend next to you running with you, or behind you pushing sometimes. So, all right. There you go. And just keep running. Do you see the place you're moving to getting closer? Is it getting closer? Great. And when you get there, one thing I like to think about is maybe there's a big well, a big waterfall of really cleansing water there. You just want to dip your hands in and just cleanse yourself with that water. Just bring it down over yourself, bless yourself, and just be like, yep, I got there. I made it. I've made at least one of my goals for today. So one of the questions that I had asked, I think I had left in the room prior to coming here today, is if you would think of an issue or situation in which you might need some support. So this could be, some situations that I could think of would be something like, let's suppose you're taking care of a relative who, and you're really doing everything you can, and nothing you do pleases them. Nothing you do actually, makes them acknowledge how much work you're putting into it, because they're not in a place where they can. And you understand that, but you still need somebody to tell you that you're doing a good job. Or let's say you're in a job situation and you're just not getting the feedback that you need. Or in a domestic situation where your partner's just not giving you the feedback. Whatever it is, whatever situation you have, just think about what that situation is. What do you need from a best friend? What do you need? Do you need someone to say, you're doing an awesome job? You're amazing. You thought of everything you could have thought of. You do more than anyone could be expected to do. You nailed it. You absolutely did the best you could do with what you knew at the time, whatever that is. And close your eyes for a minute, put your hands on your heart, and think of your best friend saying whatever it is you need to hear, whatever the words are that are meant for you. You're awesome. You're amazing. You're an inspiration. You're the best. You're incredible. You are incredibly competent. You are always thinking of new things. So think of the ways your best friend can support you through words, at this time. And I found it really helpful to sit there and just envision, and just think, okay, what would my best friend say? They would say you did a great job. So even though I can't say it to myself, I can hear my best friend saying it. Wrong direction again. So I want to just also just go back to giving us ourselves hugs for ourselves. And again, you can feel that this is from you or from your best friend, but it's really important. It does allegedly release a lot of oxytocin into your system. And, there's a lot of times we find ourselves alone in situations where there's no one there to hug us, especially given COVID, when we can't hug even if we're surrounded by people. For a long time, we haven't been able to anyway. And so it's really good to think of that touch. You can hold your own hand, if you need to. You can, any of those things. I think about people who are in waiting rooms who are wringing their hands a lot. That's really like a self-soothing, holding your own hand response. And I also want to give you a few affirmations you can use. It's one of the grief movement selections also. So sometimes we just hold our hands up and we'll say, for example, may I be peaceful. May I be content. May I be happy. And I want you to give your best friend the opportunity to say that back to you. I invite you to let your best friend say that back to you. May you be peaceful. May you be happy. May you be content. Any others that you want to substitute also. May I be kind. May you be kind. May I be capable. May you be capable. I find at least it really makes a difference if I change the focus and say it to myself rather than from myself. Of course, I will confess right now, I am a big self-talker. I self-talk all the time. So, I may be more comfortable with this than other people. And you can all do the embarrassed laugh again about that, because that's just who I am. So if you want to get in touch with me, I think I have offered 2 sessions of transformative movement, basically from this conference. You may have heard me refer to it before as grief movement, and it is labeled grief movement, but what we do is a transformative flow that's individualized during the sessions that I've given away to what you need at that time. So basically we do work on a transformation from what you're feeling to working through that. So I hope that you will take advantage. Hope you will win, but if not, feel free to contact me. I may have some group sessions coming up online that I will also invite you to as well.
Thank you so much, Kathy. And when you have a chance, go into the chat room. I think you'll enjoy all the comments. And I just want to mention we have 2 winners to announce. So Brenda Cook is the winner of one of the 30-minute transformative movement sessions. And Brenda, Kathy will be in touch with you next week to schedule it. We'll have one more that we raffle off at the end of the day. And Kathy Hepler, you won Keith's 1-hour financial consultation, and Keith will be in touch with you next week. And for those of you who are here for CEUs, there's a link we're going to share in the chat room at the end of our day. In addition, there's an email going out at 5 p.m. Eastern time with the details, as well as tomorrow morning and then Monday morning. So 3 emails are going out after today's conference just to remind you how to get your CEUs. Okay, we're going to take a 9-minute break. I'll see you back here at top of the hour. Thank you so much, Kathy.
Thank you.